This is 2021's Friend Zone. Warning, spoilers ahead. Everyone gets out of the van to witness the beautiful scenery, and the water seems to welcome everyone to the bachelorette party. All of the women grab their bags from the back and prepare for an awesome time, and Thibault, also known as TD, makes his way out of the van as well. It turns out that there's a lot more going on at this resort than just one bachelorette party, and TD gets a front row seat to the male strippers, eligible bachelorettes, and many more frivolities. Even with everything going on, TD never gets hit on by any women, he never gets really included in the deviant activities, and he just seems to be there as the ultimate supporter, even for the naked times. TD manages to have a very awkward conversation with a naked man who wants to join him in his room, but TD only wants to go back to his room to read a book. This guy really thought that TD saying he wanted to go to his room to read a book was code for getting down and freaky. I don't know what kind of people he's been hooking up with that use book reading as codes, but that's clearly not TD. Also, I don't expect TD to simply strip to go skinny dipping by himself after that awkward moment. To make matters worse, TD ends up losing his clothes just as a beautiful woman makes her way out to the water. Poor and excellent timing all at once. TD is blown away by this woman's beauty, but she doesn't make it very far into the water before getting stung by a weaver fish. She calls him over to help, and he tries to cover himself as best as possible while carrying her to the hotel room so he can help her with the venom. He really does know what he's doing too, since he's a nurse, and this isn't the first time he's dealt with this. TD uses a hairdryer to neutralize the venom, and he helps her out onto the balcony to relax. The woman finally mentions her name is Rose, and she shows TD her ugly baby collection of onesies. Rose seems surprised to find out that TD is there for a bachelorette party, and she admits that she just broke up with her boyfriend. She's definitely giving him some signals that she's open to something going on here, but TD is definitely a little more oblivious than your average guy. He even gives her a deep rub down to get the blood circulating in her leg, and when she starts to hint at other things, he says that it's late and he has an early morning. Genius. In the morning, TD tells Maud, Lulu, and Alexandra about his night with Rose, and they don't understand why he didn't get busy with her even though she was giving him all the signals. He tried to say that she just got out of a bad relationship and it wasn't good timing, but the girls aren't buying it. They even call him out for liking each of them at some point in time, and they bring up the fact that it's been 2 years since he's been with anyone intimately. TD just blows that fun fact off, and once back in town, he makes his way to work at the hospital. TD is a pediatric nurse, and the kids really like him in the unit. Later in the day, Lulu asks TD if he'll help her cover her rent since she's applying for med school, and after agreeing to help, they go in to give a treasured patient her shot. While Lulu is giving the girl her shot, TD gets a text from Rose about meeting for a dinner at 5, and both Lulu and the girl tell him that's way too early to agree to a date. Well, when you know, you know. Who eats dinner at 5 o'clock anymore, though? That's for people that call it supper instead of dinner. After work, TD gets ready for his early dinner date with Rose, and he says goodbye to Lulu on their way out of the flat. He couldn't be in a better mood as he grabs a bag before heading out. In fact, he gets to Rose's place early and waits patiently outside with a gift for her. His gift is a creepy baby fashion book, and Rose makes a joke about naming their first child some crazy name. What? At this point, I wouldn't say that TD got put in the friend zone. He put himself there, for sure. Awkwardly enough, he admits that he'd love to make babies with her, but they end up going to a store where Rose wants to go shopping. Rose talks about her ex and the fact that he's posting pictures with his new bimbo, and TD plays the ultimate support role. The two of them try on clothes together, and she gives him a simple goodnight hug at the end of the hangout. The next day, Rose calls TD over, and he just gives her a nice leg massage. Oh my god, this is just painful. He gives her drinks to share with another guy at a club, helps her throw up, watches movies with her head in his lap, and he still barely even thinks that anything is going on. Well, it's too late for him. The moment that he thinks something might be going on, she jokes about possibly sleeping with him, and her laughter almost cuts through to his very soul. I feel bad now. TD finally understands that there's nothing going on between them now, and he shows himself out to the rain that literally starts the second he steps outside. Later that night, Lulu calls Maud and Alexandra over to help TD get through this. Maud explains to him that the reason this keeps happening is because he is simply put into the friend zone. TD thinks he's a lost cause, but the girls say they're going to make him a more desirable guy. They tell him to tell Rose that he's going to be gone for a while, and they plan to give him a complete makeover so that he's almost like an entirely different person. The next morning, Maud takes TD out for a run to get him back in shape, and she gives him some motivational speeches to get him going. Let me tell you, running is not the way to make me feel desirable. If anything, running will make me feel like an old man halfway in the grave. Oh, great. Dancing is a little better, but this is not the skill level that TD should be starting at. That night, all of them meet up for dinner and they give TD advice on how he's supposed to handle a conversation. The girls think that he's a yes man, and they think that he should stand up for what he wants more when talking to a woman. Alex gives him a crash course, but he's a hopeless cause. The next day, Alex takes TD out to pick a new wardrobe, and he decides to ask her and Maud more about what's good in bed. TD really puts in the work with each of the girls, and at first, he seems like a hopeless cause. In time, he really does transform into a semi-different person. Eventually, everyone thinks that TD is ready to see Rose again during the launch of her first showroom, and they head there to meet Rose again. Oh no! Rose gets back with her boyfriend! Not just that, but Maud has a past with him and hates him as well. This couldn't have gone any worse than it did. Oh wait, except for the fact that Rose told her boyfriend about how she met TD naked on the beach. Fantastic! TD can't handle being there anymore, and he goes home to go through his dating app. After finding nothing interesting there, he hops on social media to find an influencer, Jennifer, at his local bar, and he goes to meet up with her. It turns out that she likes the saint that he usually is, but they both agree to break all their rules tonight. TD takes her to a supply closet at the children's ward, and he shows her what he can do with his thumb. The next morning, Maud admits that Rose's boyfriend, Bruno, has been texting her non-stop about getting with her, and they meet Jennifer before she decides that they need to go somewhere a little better. Eventually, TD starts to fall back into his usual pleasing self, and Jennifer seems a bit intense for him. She's a hardcore influencer. Have you ever dated one of those? They are not for the faint of heart, and Rose can see that from the pictures on social media. Apparently, TD is really good in bed even after being out of practice for 2 years, and his thumb is the key. One morning, Jennifer wakes TD up to a crazy amount of pictures for her page, and he heads downstairs to sort through all of the healthy food that Jennifer eats. The house is starting to look like a mini jungle, and he tells Jennifer that he can't go out with her to an event later that evening. Jennifer starts to seem a little unstable after hearing this, but TD finally breaks and says he'll be there. Later that day, Lulu finds Rose heading into the hospital to meet up with TD, and she tells her where to find him. Rose heads in to catch up with TD, and he's very surprised to find her standing there. They head to another room to catch up a bit, and Rose grabs TD's phone to snoop through Jennifer's messages as she blows up his phone. Excuse you? Rose lost any right to do something like that when she put TD in the ultimate friend zone. TD gives her a little piece of his mind about her going back to Bruno, and she wonders why they can't just be friends even though they're both seeing people. She decides to leave him there, but what she doesn't know is that Lulu was listening to the whole conversation outside the room. When TD goes downstairs to meet up with the girls, he finds that Lulu has already caught everyone else up on what happened earlier. Lulu really thinks that Rose is simply jealous of TD being in a hot relationship with someone else, and she wants TD to use his relationship with Jennifer to spice things up with Rose even more. Alexandra doesn't like the idea of using Jennifer, but Maud is on Lulu's side with everything. Maud was okay with that part of the plan, but she isn't okay with being the bait for Bruno. For TD, she'll do it though. She's a full-blown lesbian, and I don't think there's any harm in stepping in for a friend. The next day, TD goes to Rose's gallery to apologize for everything from the day before, and he invites Rose and Bruno to a party at his house later that week. Rose is happy to have her friend back again, and there's something else there behind her eyes now. When it comes time for the party, Bruno is furious about being stuck at this party, but Rose is excited to be there. Both of them are rather surprised by what they see, and Bruno changes his mind on staying. Bruno is very surprised to find that TD is dating Jennifer, and he dismisses himself to venture through the party. Eventually, Rose is left alone while TD handles a live video with Jennifer. Meanwhile, Maud is getting ready to bait Bruno, and she lays it on thick. The plan gets put in motion, and it's rather complex considering all the moving parts. This works out pretty well, actually. Maud goes for Bruno, and TD goes for Rose in his room. Lulu is a mastermind. When TD finds Rose in his room, she tries to find out a little more about him, and she finds out that there's more to TD than she originally thought. Downstairs, Maud starts dancing hard in front of Bruno, and he can't help but be entranced by her, and Lulu records them as they get rather steamy. Upstairs, TD is giving Rose a nice little dance lesson himself. TD is really working his magic feet with Rose, and she's completely caught up in him while they move around his room. Just when things get a little heavy, Rose decides that they should go down and join the others again, but what she didn't expect to see was Bruno showing his junk to Maud. The rest of the plan doesn't matter at all now. This was enough to cover enough for 5 breakups at least. Rose storms out of the party and TD tries to follow her. He hops on his scooter and he rushes over to Rose's place to check on her. Rose assures him that she's perfectly fine and she invites him inside to talk about how she should have known better. TD tells her that she's more important to him than the party, and she asks him for a simple hug. TD starts out with being the supportive friend again, but when he leans in for a kiss, Rose tells him that he needs to leave. When TD gets back to his own place, Jennifer is waiting outside for him, and she wants to know if he's trying to leave her for Rose. When TD tells her he wants to do just that, she whoops him in the middle of the street. Who would have known that Jennifer had all of that in her? This is like watching Jane Wick. Maud and the others try to tell TD that he should have given Rose a bit of space before going to comfort her, but he gives them all a piece of his own mind and shows what they need to work on in their own lives before they can give him any more advice. He admits that they did manage to change him though, but they made him into a jerk more than anything. TD tries to go about his usual life, but he still keeps some of the changes, like working out and giving people his peace of mind. As time passes, Lulu and the others start to reach out again, and he starts to embrace them again. I don't know how much time has passed, but just like that, Alex is pregnant and going to the obstetrician? Not only that, but the relationship between everyone is still normal as Alex asks TD to be the godfather. Maud and the others tell TD that Rose is taking a job in Spain and leaving soon, but he doesn't care about that anymore. He heads back to work, but after seeing a bit of childhood romance from one of his patients, he realizes that he needs to see Rose before she leaves. Oh god! TD gets hit by an ambulance, and we're thrown right into his funeral! What just happened? Thank goodness the funeral part was a dream. Too bad the actual accident wasn't a dream. When he finds out what day and time it is, he asks them to help him catch Rose before she leaves, and they throw him into a wheelchair and push him into their car. He manages to get to her just as she puts some of the last things into the moving truck, but she doesn't want to see him. He's not taking no for an answer though, and he stands on the moving truck to finally be honest about everything he felt for her. Finally, he comes clean on everything, and he tells her that he loves her. He promises to give her the real him from now on, and he says that he'll move with her if she'll just give him a chance. After hearing him out, Rose gives TD the code to come up, and they kiss each other while the neighborhood watches them from the street below. After that, we see TD on a beach in Spain with Rose, and they go skinny dipping together. Then, the credits roll. This definitely had a few laugh out loud moments, and there aren't enough movies about getting out of the friend zone nowadays. Give it a shot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.